we have seen this one, public access modifier, in afternoon class. So here today we will see this private access modifier, right? This is a quite important question. Sometimes they may going to ask regarding access modifier, write a note on access modifier, like that they will ask. So in that case you have to write public access modifier and private, then protected. So now we have discussed public, now private. Variables that are declared private can be accessed outside the class when if public getter methods are present in the class. So here you have to use, if you declare your modifier as a private, then you have two methods. One is getter method, another one is setter method. Getter and setter compulsory you have to use to access that variable. Using the private modifier is the main way that an object encapsulates. Encapsulation means you are hiding your data from outside the world. That we can call encapsulation. That we'll discuss it in next unit. Okay, what do you mean by encapsulation, polymorphism and inheritance? Okay, but in this slide you have to understand, to access a private variables we have to use getter method and setter method. See, one example I am taking. Now int average, I have defined one variable, but in preceded I have written private. It means we cannot access this variable outside the world. So I have two classes, one is result class, another one is add. Another class name is add. I am accessing this average variable in class add, but I have declared int average in what? Private. So it is not possible to access in the outside the world, I mean outside the class. To access this variable, so I have two methods. One is get name, another one is set name. Getter method and setter method. How I am accessing? I have defining get name as a public, set name as a public. From these methods I can access the average variable, right? Now here I am creating this, you know, right? Creating the object of this class result, and I am taking the reference variable score is equal to new result. Now I am accessing this set name method. I am accessing this set name method. Score dot set name. Score dot this method name, that is set name. I am passing one variable value 80. This 80 will go into here int average, and this dot average. So here this dot average means what? Here have you remember this keyword? To understand this you must know the concept of this keyword, this dot average, because declaration variable and passing variable both are same. So in this situation you have to use this keyword, this dot average is equal to average. So what you have passed the average value, that is 80. We are passing the value 80. So return this dot average. Now this dot after getting this dot average value, that is 80, then it move on to here result, return this dot average. Here it will go into access. Now after returning you will have the result. My score is score dot get name. You are accessing this method, that is get name. Score dot get name means how much value you have got, that will go to display here. My score is 80. It will display like this, my score is 80. So it is what? Private access modifier. Why it is necessary to write this much of code? Because you have declared your variable as private. So this is the main concept of private access specifier. I hope you understood this concept, right? Now the next one, protected. Another accessor, that is protect. When a methods and data members are declared protected, we can access them within the same package as well as from subclasses. Protected means we can access those members, different same package and subclasses. If you have class 1, class 2, class 3, you can access those members. How to access protected access modifier? Based on, you have to make extends keyword. You have to use extends keyword like this. Here I have two class, one is class result, another one is class name add. This method, here I am using method. Which method? Display. Here this display method I have given which keyword? Protected. This method you cannot access, that's why I have given protected, but I want to access this method in another class. In another class, to access this method in another class, you have to use the keyword extends. You have to use the keyword extends result. You are extending this class to this class. Class add is another class. This is result class. In result class you have declared a method that is protected. To use this method in this class, compulsory you have to use keyword extends. When you have to use extends? If you define as a protect extends, which class extends? Result. Now it is possible to access this display method in add class, right? It is our main method. So creating the object of the class, that is result, then again you are taking score is equal to new result. Now access this method score dot display. So what will happen? It will going to print. Now you are eligible to access this method in this class with the keyword what? Protected. So result is I scored 80% only. Result is I scored 80% only. It will print. So this is using protected access modifier. Okay. Now another one is pass objects to methods. Pass object to methods. Sometimes they may going to ask pass the objects to methods. So object methods means what? Object you know, how to create an object of the class you know. Then methods are simply what you are mentioning inside the class. You are mentioning one name. In previous example you have mentioned a display. Display is a method. Add is a method. This is user defined keywords. Methods, right? So pass object to methods. When we pass primitive type to a method, it is passed by value. So this concept we will tell in next slides. Okay. Then but when we pass an object to a method, objects are passed by call by reference. Two ways we have to pass. One is call by value, another one is call by reference. So now we pass an object to a method. These are by what? Call by reference. Basically parameter cannot be changed by the function, but the function can ask the parameter to change itself via calling some method within it. To understand this concept, let's see the example here I have taken. Observe, it will little bit confuse, but try to understand. Here I have taken one class. That class name is result, and in this result class I have taken one method, or sorry, one constructor I have taken. See, class name is result, then constructor name is also result. Here I am passing two parameters, I and j. One method I am taking, that method name is what? Equal to. Method name is equal to which type? Boolean type. It means it returns either true or false. Boolean type method I have declared. Now return o dot a is equal to a and o dot b is equal to b. I have written some line here, but we don't know what is the meaning for this line, right? This we have written based on the main class, so we have to see the main class, right? Here what is happening? It will take the values from a and b, right? Then it will going to compare whether it is true or false. Based on this result you will get the output. I and j, what will happen? What will do I and j? What you are passing the values, that will take from main method, that is I and j. It will going to store it on variable a and b. Now after taking a and b, it will move on to this method equal to. Here you are passing another reference variable, that is result o. So you are getting the value o, then comparing with this value and a value, and this value and a b value. If it is true, return true, like this. This is another class. Class name is add. Main method. Here I am creating the object result ob1. This class result I am creating the object. Object name is ob1 is equal to new result. Here I am passing the values 100 and 22. 100 and 22 represents where I and j. Result, right? Result constructor is result. You are passing the values, two values, 100 and 22. 100 store it on I and 22 will store it on j. Now I value is 100, j value is 22. So a value is 100, b value is 22. Now you are checking the condition ob1 equal to ob2. What is ob1, ob2? ob1 has the values 100 and 22. ob2 has the value 122. You are comparing with these two values using equal to method. So now see, after passing these values to this method, here you will have o dot a. What is the o? Result o. Result is what here? True. We will getting result true. So this o dot a 100 dot this variable value a 100 is equal to 100 true, and this one 100 dot 22 and this 22 is equal to 22. 100 is there and 22 is there, so condition becomes true. If it is true, then it will return this result as true. ob1 dot equal to ob2. ob1 has the value 122, ob2 has also 122, so both are results true. In this case you will have the result true. Now comparing this ob1 to ob3, ob1 has the value 122, ob3 has the value -10 and 70. So both the values are not same, so in that case it will return false. ob1 equal to ob3 is false, ob1 and ob2 is true. This is a way to pass the object into method. Passing object. Which object we are passing? Here in we are creating an object, right? Here only we are passing the value. Passing an object to methods. 122 we are passing in which way? In where? Object only. ob1, ob2, ob3, these all are objects. Passing to methods. Here we are passing. Method name is equal to. So this is a concept of objects passing to methods. Now another one is how arguments are passed. Call by value and call by reference. Two types we have, and this is a little bit important question. Normally they will going to ask in any languages, call by value and call by reference. One point you have to remember, if you are using call by value, value will not change. Value will not change. If you are using call by reference, value will change. Here call by value cannot change, call by reference can be changed. That is simple. In general you have to remember this concept. So this approach copies the value of an argument into the formal parameters. So you know what you mean by argument and what you mean by formal parameters and what you mean by actual parameters of the subroutine. Therefore, changes made to the parameter of subroutine have no effect. If you change the value, it will not affect. See the example here. I am using one method. Method name is display, passing the parameter, that is into y. Then y value I am assigning here 20. Y value I am assigning 20. Now in main method I am creating the object for this class AD. ADD object 1 is equal to new AD. Now here I am declaring one variable int x is equal to 10. I am passing this value to this method, right? AD1 dot display x. What is the x value here? 10. 10 will going to take this. Now it will going to add. Y is equal to 20 is there, but it will not affect y is equal to 20. You are passing the value, right? But you are printing the value is what? X. So 10 is passing to this method, but you have already given the value y is equal to 20. Even though you are printing this x, now x value is what here? Original x value 10. So result is always 10 only. It will not change the value. Use in call by value. Call by value means you are passing the value to another method, but original value will not affect. It will take the copies of this object and it will change, but your original value will not change. This is what call by value. Okay. Now another method, call by reference. Here value will change. Value will change. This approach, reference to an argument is passed to the parameter. Inside the subroutine, this reference is used to pass the actual argument specified in the call. That means changes made to the parameter will affect the argument used to call the subroutine. In general, you have to remember, call by reference, value will change. Call by value, value will not change. See the example. Here I have taken one method, that is display method. Here I am using string buffer class. Just now we have discussed in lab program, right? String buffer, I am creating one variable, that is sb2. Now in main method, test cbr, call by reference, variable name call by reference I have taken is equal to new test. Then string buffer sb1 is equal to new string buffer. I am passing the parameter here hello. I am passing the value hello to where? sb1. Now pass this sb1 to display method. How to pass this sb1? Based on the reference variable cbr dot access this method display, pass the value sb1. sb1 has the value what? Hello. Hello will going to pass to this method. Hello, right? Now after passing hello, it has the word also word. It has the one word, that is word. You have passed the value from SB1, right? You have passed the value SB1 to here. SB1 value has hello. Hello will go into here. Then you are performing one operation here, that is SB2 dot append word. SB2 has the value hello. SB2 has the value hello. Append to this one word. So what you are getting here, you are printing SOP. Now what is the output for this? What you will get in SOP SB2? Simple logic. Yes, SB2 value is hello, right? From the main method you are getting SB2 value is hello. Hello append word. So you are printing SB2 means you will get the hello word, right? Now again you have one more printf statement here. After display, it will after calling this display method, you will have hello word. From where? From SB1, right? Here you have displayed SB2. Now come to this SOP SB1 you are printing. So SB1 means what here? SB1 means what here? Hello. Okay, hello. So output will display hello or something different here. In this line you will get hello or something different. So here you will get hello world changed because you are passing reference. So that's why your original word is hello, but after passing this word to another method, it is printing hello word after changing. Even though you are printing the same word, but you are getting hello word here. So this is the logic of what? Pass by reference or call by reference method. I told already, using this method, any changes you will made, that will affect. So you have changed here hello to word, so hello word is printing, but if you want to print back the same thing, then you have changed. You are getting the output, changed output. As per your opinion, it has to display hello, but it is displaying hello word. It is changed. Value is changed here. So this is what call by reference method. Two arguments. One is call by value, not change. Call by reference, change. Difference between these two methods, call by value and call by reference. A copy of actual parameter is passed into formal parameters. Here reference of actual parameter is passed into formal parameters. Okay. Changes in formal parameters will not result in changes. Changes in formal parameters will result in changes in actual parameters. Here result will not change, here result will change. In call by memory, separate memory location is allocated for actual and formal parameters, but here same memory location is allocated. That's why your result will going to change. That's why it will going to affect. Here different locations will going to allocate. That's why it is not going to affect. But here same memory location is allocating, so that's why it is changing in call by reference. Okay. Now method and constructor overloading we have seen in previous class, and we have executed one lab program based on this concept. And please mark this concept is very important. 10 marks question is fixed from this concept: method overloading and constructor overloading. Just see the brief introduction for this Constructor overloading is a concept of having more than one constructor with different parameter list. So that we can call constructor overloading, right? See, two constructor I am having. One is AITM, integer purpose. Another one is string purpose. Integer purpose and string purpose. This is constructor overloading method. We have discussed this, right? 2 times we have discussed. Can I explain once again for this or no? Constructor overloading. Now we have method overloading is a concept that allows to multiple methods with the same name but different parameters. Multiple methods with same name but different parameters. Example like this: void function. Another one is void function. Function is a method. Here default function. No, we are not passing any parameters here. But here we are passing one parameter. So different parameters but same name. So it is called method overloading. Right? See, example sum. Here sum method accepting two integer variables. This sum accepting two floating numbers, float A and float B. Here we are passing the values power 4 and we are passing here floating point numbers 2.2 followed by F. So this is example of method overloading. If you write in main exam just definition and then one example, you will get 10 marks. Both the concept 10 marks you will get. Now the another one is recursion method. It is also little bit important concept. Then you are always going to ask factorial of a given number. Okay. After finishing this concept, we will come to end of this class. Okay. Recursion, a method can call itself. That is called recursion. This process is called recursion and the method that calls itself is said to be recursive. Very simple. Calling a method itself, calling a function itself is called recursion. Continuously it will going to call until reach the particular condition. Okay. Recursion is a powerful control mechanism in Java. Not only Java, all languages. So let's see here. Simple logic here I am using to print the star. Based on the number. Here I want to pass the number 1. So n value is what? 1. Now enter into this method. If n is equal to 1, SOP what? If n is equal to 1, SOP what? Print the star. Right? So how many star will print? One, because 1 is equal to 1, it matches the condition and it prints the 1 star. 1 star it will print. Now if I pass the n value is 2, in this situation what will happen? Now apply here n is equal to 2. Now check the condition. 2 is equal to 1, condition true or false? False. Now come to this. Here you are printing star. So it will print first star. Now call this function again. Star, function name is star, condition n minus 1. So 1 minus 1, what is the value? 1. 1 minus 1. Sorry, 2 minus 1. N value is what? N value is 2. 2 minus 1. So 1. 1 value. Now you are passing the 1 in this function only, right? So again go to this function, star value is 1. Now 1 is equal to 1, condition is true, then print the another star. So another star is printed. Finish. Condition is true. Now stop this process to execute. So you have 2 star. When you passed the value 2, you will get 2 star. Second time it is calling here only, right? Second time calling function here only. It is called recursion function. Calling a function again and again. It will call until reach the condition. Okay, now here same I am using that same method here, but I am passing the different numbers. One is 1. I am passing the value 1, so it will print 1 star. I am passing the value 2, so it will print 2 star. I am passing 3 star, then passing 9 star will print. See, like this. It will print like this. Okay, this is called recursion. Now the most important concept, this one, factorial of a given number. Here you are passing the factorial value is 3, factorial of 3 value. So this is a factorial function. Here you have to write like this. First integer result, you calculate the result. Now if n equal to 1, return 1. Means value is 1, so answer is 1. If more than 1, now calculate this formula, factorial n minus 1 star n. Based on this line, this function call itself. Here function name is factor. So using this function name factor, here we have to calculate factorial of given number. Right, here we are passing value 3 in this function. So n value becomes 3. Check the condition. 3 equal to 1, condition false. Now execute this function. So result is equal to factorial 3 minus 1 into 3. 3 minus 1 becomes what? 2. 2 into 3. What is the result? 6. 6 will go into result. Return the value. So this is a concept of recursion. Now the remaining concept we will see it on next class. Okay. Thank you.